You know the drill. New bike lanes pop up, or they repaint the lines on the road, and suddenly everyone has an opinion, and the debate gets heated, fast. But what if we could just sidestep the arguments for a minute? What if we just looked at the cold, hard data? Well, in this explainer, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're digging into the science of what really makes our streets safer for everyone.
Yeah, we've all seen this, right? A street in your neighborhood suddenly looks different, and bam, there's a huge conversation about it. So today, let's just try to cut through all that noise and simply follow the evidence.
And this really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? This is the one question you always hear. Do these projects actually work? Do they make things safer? And not just for the cyclists, but for the drivers, for pedestrians, for everybody. Let's find out.
Okay, so to get some real answers, we're going to start with a massive study from the Journal of Transport and Health. And this wasn't some small survey. Researchers crunched 13 years of data from 12 big US cities to see what impact this stuff really has. And honestly, the results were pretty shocking.
So, here it is, the main takeaway. And it's a huge one. What the study found is that in cities where more people bike, the roads get safer, not just for the people on bikes, but for everyone using the road. It's like this safety in numbers effect, but it turns out the benefits are for the entire community.
And here's the number that really drives it home. Cities that installed protected bike lanes, the ones with an actual physical barrier, they saw a 44% drop in road deaths. And I want to be super clear here. That's not just a drop in cyclist deaths. That's for all road users, drivers included.
But wait, it doesn't stop there. Those same cities also saw a 50% drop in serious injuries. That's a massive, massive improvement. And the thinking is, it's because this kind of design just naturally calms the whole street down. It makes everyone, cars included, slow down just a little bit, making the whole environment safe.
And this isn't just some abstract theory. Just look at Portland, Oregon. Over about 20 years, the number of people biking to work there tripled. Now, you'd think, okay, more bikes, more crashes, right? Nope. The exact opposite happened. The city's overall road fatality rate plummeted by 75%.
Okay, but here's where the story gets really, really interesting, because the researchers dug a little deeper and found that, well, not all bike lanes are created equal. In fact, one very common type of bike lane might actually be making things worse.
And this is where the details really matter. What the study found was this huge difference between protected lanes, the ones with a real barrier, and the ones that are just, a line of paint. That simple painted line can give everyone a false sense of security, which in some cases makes the road less safe. It just proves how much the specific design choices really, really matter.
So this idea that a really simple change can have a huge impact isn't just about bike lanes. In fact, let's zoom out for a second and look at maybe the most basic thing on any road, a humble line of paint. You probably never think about it, but it might just be one of the most powerful safety tools we have. Now, to really get why it's so powerful, we need to talk about something called the benefit-cost ratio. It sounds kind of technical, but it's super simple. Planners use it to figure out if something is a good use of money. It just asks, for every $1 you spend, how many dollars do you get back in benefits, like fewer crashes or less traffic? So what do you think the benefit-cost ratio is for just, painting lines on a road? Well, get ready for this. A huge analysis by the Transportation Research Board found that for every single dollar spent on basic road striping, society gets $60 back in benefits. 60. That is an absolutely insane return on investment.
And that $60 number isn't just a weird average. Look at this. On some city streets, the return is, 126 to 1. Even on rural roads where you might not expect it, it's still nearly 30 to 1. The data is just crystal clear. This is consistently one of the absolute best safety investments we can possibly make.
So when you put all this together, you start to see that making our roads safer isn't about guesswork or just trying random things. It's actually a science. There's a clear, logical way to find the solutions that save the most lives for the least amount of money. And there's actually a pretty simple golden rule for this. It's basically a two-step process. First, you look for fixes that are cheap and easy to do. Then, out of that group, you pick the ones that have the biggest proven impact on making things safer. It's all about finding that sweet spot. Low cost, high reward. And those road markings we've been talking about? They're not alone. They're part of this whole family of smart, cheap safety fixes. Things like tweaking how an intersection is laid out, lowering a speed limit, or other simple traffic calming designs. They all fall into this awesome category of being low cost but having a huge safety payoff.
Okay, so let's bring this all home. We've seen that the right kind of changes, like protected bike lanes, can make streets safer for everyone. And we've seen that some of the simplest, cheapest things we can do, like literally just repainting lines, can have this enormous, outsized impact. So what does that mean for the streets that we drive and walk on every single day?
You know, when you look at all the research, the conclusion is just unavoidable. These simple, data-backed changes give us so much value. They save lives and cut down on traffic, all for a tiny fraction of what massive new road projects cost.
And that kind of leaves us with a big question for all of us. Now that we know this stuff, now that we have the data, what kind of roads do we actually want in our own communities? Do we want to keep arguing based on feelings and anecdotes, or do we want to start building our future based on the science of what really works?
Because in the end, what all this data really tells us is one simple thing. The safest streets, the ones where everyone gets home at the end of the day, they don't just happen by accident. They happen because we choose to build them that way. They're a choice,